I feel like Michael Corleone every time you think you're out, you get back into the Flash.
Deja vu all over again. Yeah,
How
but
is it?
the thing is that it's enough different. Now, for the first time, will be next week on set with Barry as Flash. And when I was reading that felt, if it's going to happen, if there's going to be a sense of displacement, it's going to happen then. But it remains to be seen. You know, the story is so different. The character is so much darker. I can't imagine Emmett Walsh killing Priscilla Pointer. You know what I mean? And ending up in prison. I can't imagine Emmett Walsh my dad killed my mom. What? So the character is so dark, and when I heard that that's the way they were going with it, that's the part I wanted, not Jake Garrett, the mentor role. Okay, here, this is how you do it, son. You know, that would not be interesting to me. But to play, that blows my head open. You know, to be accused of killing your wife in front of your son and even your best friend and neighbor, Joe West, is convinced you're guilty, and you have to live with that for 14 years in the hell-on-earth prison that is Iron Heights. I was like, that's the role I want. And that's the role they offered me. So it's being pulled back in the most wonderful way. Besides, a gentleman over here asked such an interesting question. He said, how does it feel, arguably, he said, First Flash ended too soon. How does it feel now? Young guy over here was very kind. 15 years later, I said, 15? 24? We're talking quarter of a century here. You rarely get the chance to go back and have a chance for healing to take place around a wound. And arguably, when you put not to get maudlin, but when you put your heart and soul, and you know everybody around you is working so hard, and it doesn't get renewed. It doesn't. You don't quite. Although it's had a life for one season show, it's had an incredible life. It does hurt. It does hurt a little bit. So it's great to. I mean, how often do you get to come back? And I put it in terms of. Once a preacher's son, always a preacher's son. You know, healing take place, around something like that. So it's an extraordinary opportunity. And Andrew Kreisberg was an assistant on the back lot at Warner Brothers and was a fan of the show. Greg was a fan of the show. Jeff Johns has our original the original poster, in the 7-Eleven campaign in his office. So they all know what happened, and they all know why it happened, and there's a sense of them just wrapping me up and bringing me into this new incarnation. That feels really wonderful.
What's it like for you as someone who was on a superhero show in a different, time, now seeing this huge resurgence, this huge explosion of all these movies and TV shows popping up? Is it strange for you to say, like, oh, well, we were doing it first?
Yeah, we did that in 1990. No. The thing that I'm also happy for, that show, because, you couldn't do a lot of CGI then. Now they can do so much more in post-production. And that makes it a lot easier when you're not trying to do all practical effects. It's amazing to see how the sensibility around this character has evolved, and it is evolved. It is a smarter sensibility about it, in the fact that we're no longer in the Mark McGuire, Jose Canseco, pumping iron, post-steroid hangover era. So we can actually address the fact that the Flash is about speed and needs to be aerodynamic. And Grant's perfect for it. So it's interesting to see how the sensibility around that character has evolved. And I'm just wondering, because we'll see, because they're saturating the market now, aren't they? But then they always do that. You're too young to remember that once upon a time, it was all Westerns. And then it was all CSI shows, and then it was all Law and Order, and now it's all superheroes. And one of these will stand out. And our show, the thing that I will be interested in finding out is our show is going to be, although bless Jeff Johns' heart, he's given it a dark edge just with the whole family story. But it's going to be the most lighthearted. The thing about Grant that impresses me so much is that it's good for I mean, how could we not be a success? That impressed me is that, when I first found out I would play his father, I looked at Arrow because I wanted to see how he worked. and I was relieved to see that he's really sincere. There's no acting. I don't know what he was pulling on when he was talking about his dad, but it was simple, it was honest, it had energy, and it wasn't acting. And that's the most important thing, the acting, but no acting, please. It was very real. And then we did the scene in the prison together, and I thought, this kid has chops. And Jesse said it best. He said, this show is going to work if it works for one reason, is because that guy's head and his heart are in alignment and they're in the right place. I couldn't be happier.
So will we, because you've been in prison, your character obviously has been in prison for a number of years, 14 years. I mean, the Flash is now like a grown man almost, right? So the question is, will we see a little bit more of Henry's, what the prison has done to Henry?
That's up to me, really. If you don't, that's my bad. That's my failure. I certainly, one thing I said to them is I don't want to come in and play Dawson's dad 10 years later. Okay, now I'm being kind. 13 years later. That's the 15 years he was talking about. And so I said I wanted to grow out my hair. My hair is not quite at the point where it was in the pilot, and the beard will be by the time I shoot again. I have to balance present day and flashback. So we wanted to see, like for the pilot, we shot all the present day scenes first. They shaved me, gave me a haircut, and then we did the flashbacks. The next episode, I have my first interrogation tape, which is minutes after I've been arrested, and I have present day stuff with Joe, who has been convinced that I'm guilty. My neighbor's huge sense of betrayal coming, and then I have scenes with Barry and Barry is the Flash. So balancing all of that, I think in the pilot, when you see Henry present day, he's completely defeated. It's over. In my mind, I'm letting Barry go. I'm releasing him from what maybe I've even participated in to give him a reason to live, which is who really did it. His mom's dead, his dad's in prison. Yeah, go chasing after these paranormal things. I probably even encouraged it. But now, you're 20. You're not 10 anymore. You're 24, so you got to let it go. It's never going to be solved. And then what I'm moving in now in the scripts is, what's going on with you? And we walk that ambiguous line after our first time confronted with the Flash. Does Henry know? Does he? And that changes my motivation. I get out of the maudlin, changes my whole motivation. Meisner would be very proud. It takes all of the attention off of me and puts it on him. So even when I'm telling a story, what I'm really doing is looking for any sign of anything that he might give away about what's up with him. Is he waiting for him to tell me if indeed he is, if indeed I even suspect it. So playing an ambiguity specifically, I don't know, we'll see how it works out. You'll tell me.
You have a good perspective on this, having played with us. What is the appeal of this character? As a kid, I would look at the Flash as he ran fast. That's what the Flash did. And there wasn't a lot to him. In your mind, though, having been there and now on this show, what is the appeal of the Flash?
You've hit upon the very reason we've had a hard time getting another. It's been 24 years, and we lasted one season. What is the problem with the Flash being made into a movie? How many times did we hear it's going to be a movie? It's not. It's going to be a series. It's not. Well, now finally it is. And I think I personally suspect the gold ears have something to do with it, but no. But in a sense, metaphorically, he is a lighter character. He is kind of, the kind of, science guy that trips over his own self, and we're all into Constantine and Walking Dead, and we have to have a hatchet in someone's head every other minute, and so I think what Jeff has done brilliantly to address that, and I get to be a part of it, is give the dark family story. So that gives it its darkness, and that frees us up to, and they do a better job than we did in presenting Barry as, Grant's got a great sense of comedy, kind of running into himself, stumbling over his own feet. What I loved was being the unblessed son. Obviously, my older brother was my father's favorite, who got these kick-ass powers and then couldn't tell his dad. You know, what he's got is he's stumbling over his feet. Everybody in the crime lab, you know, they sort of Alan, you know, they dismiss him, and he could kick all of their ass. You know, but he couldn't let him know. You know what I mean? So, I don't know if that answered your question, but
Is it an everyman quality, in a sense?
it is, and we'll see if that's enough. We're going to be, you know, we're going to have a lot of, as we said, there's so many superhero shows now, and one or two are going to stand out, and we'll see if the darker quality is the way they go, or we're going to be the ride at the amusement park. You know, we're going to be the fireworks on 4th of July. We're going to be, he's endearing, he's got a great quality, and we'll see which one the audience finds on. You know. But I think you've hit on it. I think the thing with the Flash is...
Thank everybody.
No, the thing with the Flash is how, you know...
It's John Wesley Shipp.